up, virtual people? Welcome to episode 26 of VCR Redux. We take your favorite franchises out of the analog era and bring them back to 2021. I'm your host, pop culture punk Chris Stiles, joined as always by my co-host with the most, film professor Ian Klink.
How you doing, everybody?
And we have two radical guests on the show tonight. First up, our own honorary third host from Rick Barth and the Line. Oh, Mickey, you're so fine. Mickey Torres is on the show.
What's up, everyone?
And rounding out this righteous crew, coming all the way from the West Coast, she runs a recording and post-production studio, produces special edition DVDs and Blu-rays, and lent those producing talents to the upcoming Angela the Sleepaway Camp documentary. Melanie Mullen is on the show.
Yay!
Hi, thanks for having me back.
Thank you so much for coming back on the show.
Why does everybody in LA have a creepy couch? Like, I don't understand. Like, is it mandatory?
Don't make fun of my casting couch.
Well, I don't know anything about that, but we are here today to resurrect what Alice Cooper so affectionately referred to as the man behind the mask. That's right. It's time to get Jason Voorhees out of the courtroom and onto the silver screen and get the Friday the 13th franchise back to what we know and love. But before we can restore honor and integrity to America's favorite hockey mask maniac, we need to talk about how it came into our lives and what we love about it. And that includes all you guys and gals watching at home. Hit us up in the live chat with your first Friday stories. And while we're waiting for the chat, Melanie, how did Friday the 13th first come into your life? We talking VHS, cable, rental, theaters?
Definitely rental. I was born after Friday the 13th came out. I don't know. I'd have to say I was probably 12 or so when I first saw it. And for some reason, I just thought, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen. I must see them all. And to this day, I think the most exciting Christmas I ever had was my grandma took me to Blockbuster and she bought me 1 through Jason Goes to Hell on VHS. And that was my Christmas present. She bought me all 9 of them on VHS. It was just like, I can't. Like, I still, like, I think about it and I'm just like, oh my God, my grandma is a god.
That's awesome.
I can't even like wrap my head around this, that like there was even a Blockbuster that had them all for sale.
They had to order them. They had to order them.
Oh
yeah.
My God, wow.
Oh.
The days of special order tapes.
Special order tapes.
I
yeah, but
remember those.
I mean, at the very least, like when she got them, they weren't like $100 each. Like when
Not at that point,
Oh.
no.
Yeah.
No. This was probably
way after.
I'd have to say this is probably like late 90s, very early 2000s, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay. And what was the first Friday that you saw? Was it the first one? Because most people don't come into the first movie first.
I actually watched them in order. I actually did watch them in order, which I know is very rare. But yeah, I did. I started with 1 and I used to go to Blockbuster every Saturday and I just get another one and another one. And then eventually it was like, oh, these get worse.
Well, we will certainly get to that soon. In the meantime, Mickey, Ian, do you guys remember the first Friday you watched? How old you were? Are we talking cable, VHS rental, theaters?
I gotta
go first.
I gotta say it, as always. Freaking God bless Gilbert Gottfried and the people at USA Network, because that's where I would see every Friday the 13th. They would have the marathons on USA Network, and that's where I remember seeing them. But the memory that sticks out is my cousin Jamie and my sister and I over at my grandma's house. What is it? I don't know. What is it about grandparents? And Friday the 13th, but I remember us being at our grandparents' house and like, grandma and grandpa are both, they're all asleep, but we're watching the USA Network and we're doing the marathon. And I specifically remember, and I think, and Melanie, you correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it's from 5. It's at the diner where the guy's doing coke and the waitress comes out and he gets slammed in the head.
That's 5.
Is that 5?
Yeah, the bald spot. Yeah.
The guy with the mustache, the ambulance guy. I very distinctly remember that scene. Us watching that on my grandparents', big old tube TV. And just love that memory. But that's where I saw him, USA Network.
Wow. So you came in via part 5. That was your first one?
That's what I remember. I mean,
Wow.
I guarantee you, like like you were saying, we all go back and forth. We start with this one, go to that one. Does it really matter? No.
I love that you came in potentially, according to your memory, in like the sleaziest of all the Friday films. That is like by far the trashiest of them all.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying that in a bad way.
I was like,
fact.
First off, shut your mouth. I stand by 5. And if all 3 of you want to fight me on this one, I will fight every single one of you. All right.
I love 5. We'll get to our opinions of the series.
Friday
as a
the
whole.
13th V, A New Beginning, was a new experience of everything, people. All right.
Okay.
We will get to how we feel about each installment as we go along, but I am curious at first, and of course for everyone in the chat as well, as to what the first Friday you saw was, and like kind of how old you were, that kind of stuff. So Mickey, your first time watching a Friday 13th movie, was it? You may have. Was it theaters?
It was
cable, HBO.
It was the early ones, HBO.
Okay.
It wasn't until part 8 that I saw it in the theater. Like part 8 was part 8 was the first one that I saw in theaters.
I love,
but like
I love them all so much.
Oh yeah, I don't remember which one was the first one I watched, to be honest. And I know I rented some too, so it was probably a mixture of renting, HBO, I don't know, and then eventually like the later ones I did go to the theaters. I remember vividly renting part 7, 6 and 7 for sure.
I was expecting you to say I was 2 years old and on my first date, and when I saw the first Friday the 13th.
Exactly. Young Mickey Mac Daddy. So there are some hellos. There are some hellos poured in the chat. We got a hello from Angie and Mike Saunders, the mashup making genius duo. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Angie says Jason is badass. Also our buddy Twyan Lannister, Dustin from Retro Fiend Radio, says, what's up everyone? First time I saw the first Friday was at my grandparents' house as a kid on TV. So there really is something about grandparents in these movies, because they all sort of blended together for a while.
They didn't know what you were watching. They didn't know.
Yeah, basically any grandparent of millennial was like, whatever. Like,
exactly.
We survived the Depression. Whatever. Go away. Go do it.
Kids gotta learn. Kids gotta
learn. There's even more grandparent talk in the chat. Richard Lynn says, hello, go grandma. So he's cheering this on. Thanks for tuning in, Richard. We appreciate you, buddy. Also, Nolan Roberts says, I knew who Jason was as a character way before I saw any of the movies. The first is technically the best, but I unapologetically love Jason X.
I love it.
And our good buddy Alex too.
Should have been Jason 4. He was in space, so.
Yeah,
so a contrary grandparent of belief in the chat here, Angie Saunders says, you have an awesome grandma. My grandma would not have let me watch it, so we're sorry to hear that, Angie. Alex Bonafante says he's sorry for being late, but he also says that part 5 is good. So what up, Alex?
Yeah.
Well,
yes.
Our good friends at Retro Fiend, the makers of the finest canon and martial arts documentaries you will ever see, say part 2, 4, and 6 are my favorite sequels. Part 3 has the best theme song though. Oh, the disco.
Oh, the disco. Shit. Oh yeah, disco.
Yeah.
Oh,
disco.
And also,
Jason.
Our friend of the show, apparently, according to Retro Fiend, our friend of the show, Stephen Lambert, did the stunts in part 5. So
even more of a reason to love all of Friday the 13th V, A New Beginning. All right.
Lambo, come back on the show.
What just happened?
Anytime, buddy.
Melody,
the power of Lambo.
The ghost of Jason came.
We're talking about Stephen Lambert, and there was too much power.
Horrible time. I have these timer lights in my office, and so I'm just sitting here, and they go dark on me all the time. So I just wave my hand.
I thought that creepy ass couch was attacking you.
Do you work in the clamp tower from Gremlins 2?
I wish.
Sound alarm.
Yes, right. Retro Fiend also says Crispin rules, and Nolan Roberts doubles down on it, as in part 4 for the dance scene.
Yes.
So my first time watching a Friday the 13th movie, and I think it's probably the first one that was ever or maybe the reason why Jason entered my public consciousness, because I have this very early memory of seeing trailers on TV, or TV spots, I guess I'd call them, for Friday the 13th Part 7. And it looked like Jason was crashing a birthday party, because there's like a shot in all the trailers where he jumps through a window and there's like birthday, balloons and stuff. And there's like some kind of party line in the voiceover. And like, then we got the video game. So that was actually, I played the game before I ever watched any of the movies. But then a few years later, I finally found, my dad had this VHS copy of Friday the 13th Part 7. And it was those beautiful Paramount, like purple and khaki stickered VHS tapes. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And I put it in, and it was a great way to come in, because at the beginning of 7, they have that amazing little montage that like kind of runs you through everything that's happened so far. And it was like, oh man, this series is, oh man, I have to see all these. I want to know which one all these shots are from someday. And so Friday, I was a little kid. I was probably 7 or 8. I watched Friday the 13th Part 7. It scared the living shit out of me. And it's always been one of my favorites since then. And I got to meet John Carl Buechler, the director, and do a panel with him and a whole bunch of other cast members from all these different movies. And I was just like so starstruck by him, not to discredit anyone else. They were all amazing, but John Carl Buechler was a sweetheart. And, I got to talk to him about how that, would have been the gore masterpiece of the decade, if not for the MPAA slashing it up. But not to talk entirely about Part 7. So
why
I
not?
guess
It's the best.
I mean, 6 is honestly my favorite one.
Scumbag.
But to me, like the run of like 4 through 8 is just like so damn solid. And there's nothing wrong with 3 either. But you could even say 3 through 8 are kind of like.
Have any of you seen 3 in 3D?
On VHS or like Blu-ray or awesome. Like that, yeah.
So for my film club I used to have at SCAD, I actually showed on the big screen Friday the 13th Part 3D, and it was awesome on the big screen. It was so worth that movie by itself. See, but I always remember on USA, right? They always show it in 2D, so you get the guy coming up the camera like, oh
yeah.
You're like, well, that's dumb. But seeing 3D was totally worth it.
The 3D gags are not to a point where they ruin the movie, because the suspense and all the other things that lead up to them are fine. But yeah, the 3D is just pretty forgettable. It's just like any other 3D where it's like there's a yo-yo coming at the lens, like there's someone's offering someone a candy bar right at the lens. It's just kind of like whatever.
Whatever. We're gonna do
the eye pop kill is nice. But of course you gotta give 3 credit. 3 is the film that of course gave Jason the iconic mask. So
correct. Yep.
And apparently no one knows who really came up with this. A lot of different people try to claim credit for coming up with the mask. The one thing we know is that Sean Cunningham hates the mask, which I find to be interesting. Along with Victor Miller, the creator.
No, I want the satchel. Bring that back.
You want the satchel came back. It came back in the 2009 or.
I know, and I loved it. I was like, keep this going.
Don't get me started on 2009. Oh
yeah. Jason somehow figured out how to play the lights.
Great 13 minutes. First 13 minutes of that movie are awesome, and then they just ruined it by having the rest of the movie. Same thing. Same thing with Crystal Skull. Right? It's like great 10-minute movie. Fantastic.
You actually like the nuke the fridge part?
Yeah, why not? But then it kept going. It's like, damn it.
It was a little, I like that it's kind of also a meta wink to Back to the Future, that whole nuking the fridge moment. But you'd have to be an extreme geek to understand that.
Which we are.
So, I'll start. So, the first sequel comes out, and obviously now we're getting into the Halloween-esque territory, where like a male figure, kind of stalks people in a certain locale. I like 2 more than 1. I'm not gonna lie. Nothing against 1. I love 1, but I think 2 is a better film. If I was like, all right, we're gonna watch one of the early ones, I'm definitely going with 2. Better kills.
Yeah.
No disrespect to Kevin Bacon, but I don't know. I think it starts building, so we can, get on. I mean, it sounds like you guys all agree.
Yeah.
I'd say 3 is maybe even a notch above 2. I don't know if that's something that's agreed upon here or in the chat.
See, I didn't think 3 was that great, to be honest.
Okay, you didn't like 3. What was it? The 3D that did it for you? That didn't do it for you?
I just think the storyline, the whole like concept of the movie for me, I just didn't like it. I mean, overall, 2 was better to me.
See, I think maybe I have a soft spot for 3 because I first watched it on a Joe Bob Briggs, like a Monster Vision or something, or Drive-In, or whatever it was back in the day.
Monster Vision.
So that always kind of made me love 3. Oh God, love Joe Bob.
I love Joe Bob.
I don't know, Melanie, what do you think about 3?
I don't mind 3. I actually, a few years ago, I did get to go see it at the Egyptian in 3D, which was fun. Completely sold out, packed house, really fun.
That's cool.
2 and 4 are my favorite, and I also like 6 a lot.
Okay.
But no, I mean, I like 3. I mean, really, to me, I'm like I definitely like. I also like 2 more than the first one. 4 has always been my favorite though. 3, I'm trying to kind of like pinpoint what I know. A lot of people are kind of like lukewarm on 3. They're like, yeah, it's fine. I don't know if it's like the location. Maybe people don't like the location.
It did feel, there was something.
Well, you can definitely tell. You're like, oh, they're not on the East Coast anymore.
Yeah.
And also, it's like, it just sort of felt like those Police Academy sequels when like Mahoney's not there, and it's like, well, they're not really on the ball this time. You know, they have like a sort of Cheech and Chong couple, and they seem really out of place. And there's a lot of things that kind of seem out of place.
You have the random bikers, which is weird. Like, how did they figure out where they were staying?
Yeah.
And then at the end, the biker, I think his name is Ali. He like comes back to life and attack. It's like, so you've just been bleeding out in this barn for 8 hours, and then you're just like, whoa. And then only to get killed again immediately. Well, I
feel like there was a lot of story holes in that third act.
On her whole story too, about like what happened to her a couple of years previously, and
Jason
it's
in the woods, and that's
very rapey.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that never made. Yeah, see, to me though, the struggle I always had, where I agree with you, the kills of 2 are way better. The Jason part never made sense. It just doesn't add up. Now, by the time we get to like 3, like, nobody cares. Like we're all like, whatever, we bought it, like, just, but that was always my issue though. I'm watching 2 and I'm like, so he's just been eating cans of soup in this cabin for all these years, like
raccoons,
the whole point of
it,
like it was. I get they painted themselves in the corner. I totally get that, because they had no clue that Friday the 13th would even be successful. Like, it was supposed to make money and go away. But then this Jason thing, all of a sudden, like, no, he's been out in the forest. So the mom didn't find him, didn't see that she had the mongoloid was over here instead of over there. Like, I don't get it.
So we should, and we'll get to the chat soon because the chat is blowing up, but we should kind of, try and move through the series, briskly. And of course, getting to 4, Melanie's favorite, one of mine as well. 4 is a near perfect film.
It is
for what it intends to be. It's not trying to be, Shakespeare, but
Crispin Glover asking for the corkscrew. I will rewind that. I will rewind that every single time.
I always love the
Ted. Where's the corkscrew at? Dad.
I always love the computer, the back of the car. He's doing. Let me check my computer.
Yeah.
Oh, it says right here. Dead fuck.
The thing about 4 is the characters are just so likable. Oh my god, no. I can't do it. Like, I can't fix it. I can't do anything about it.
No worries.
But
one time it's gonna happen. Melanie's just gonna disappear. We're gonna be like,
your automatic lights want you to be doing this Unsolved Mystery style.
Exactly.
Like you're a Crystal Lake survivor.
Ghost story.
This is gonna turn into Unfriended real quick here.
Right, I know. I know. But yeah, no, like the thing about part 4 for me has always just been how likable the characters are. And you actually feel, I mean, not all, like some of them you're like, yeah, whatever. But some of them you're like, wow, I genuinely feel bad that this person got killed. Like this person literally did nothing wrong.
The
Crispin
twins.
Glover.
The
Crispin
twins.
Glover.
Oh, the twins, Judy Aronson. Yeah. Everyone,
Right.
even like the kid in the shower, the guy who gets in the shower, he's just like a nice dude. You know?
They were all just like likable people, and they all got and I'm like, I don't think I'm supposed to feel bad. Like when I'm watching a Friday the 13th movie, I don't think I'm supposed to feel bad when people get
the
killed.
guy who's looking for
but
his
I really
sister.
do.
Yeah, why did he die?
Yeah.
That ticked me off.
No, I love that because it's scarier that he dies, that you see and you kind of don't see it. That's one of my favorite
but he
parts.
goes out. But listen, he goes. If you're gonna go out, all right, and you know you're going out, okay, and I can say this because I've never been in that situation, but I'm just saying, if you're going out, don't cry like a wuss. All right, like it's like the guy is literally like, oh my god, he's killing me. It's actually happening. Like what do you like he say, like go out of like get some. You know, like, do something of coolness if you're going out. Like I regret nothing.
Well, what I find humorous about that is, you know, because the Friday the 13th timeline is so wacky. Like
it
2,
does
3,
technically.
and 4, 2, 3, and 4 all take place within days of each other. So at this point, it's been a few days since his sister was killed in part 2. He's already got his camping gear ready. He has all of his newspaper clippings of Jason. Like he's just already in the woods looking for
and
him.
They're aged newspaper clippings too.
Right.
That's true.
Right.
Yeah, that's so true. I never thought about it like that. Because
By that
then
point, he should be able to smell his sister. Because her body's probably like take a Prozac at this point.
Well, after 4, we're gonna jump 10 years, and we did talk about 5, but you know, the interesting thing about 5, of course, it turns out not to be Jason, which they thought, you know, 4 was supposed to end the franchise, 5 was supposed to kind of like, you know, it's kind of got to do what Scream does. It's just like, well, we put something else in the mask, and the people want the mask. You know,
makes so much sense, though. People, listen,
I will
5
say this,
is the best of the. I will stand by this. And if you all in the chat disagree, I don't care. 5.
There's a lot of love for 6.
Friday the 13th. Well, of course, we get it. Like, all right, we get 6. Knock it off. All right, but part 5. All right, Friday the 13th V. That was brave and bold, and you all know it, and actually makes a lot of sense. Somebody would copycat this stuff, and why not use Jason as the crutch? And it works.
Every Scream sequel does the Friday 5 thing.
They do, and it works. It works. I love Friday the 13th V.
But
that's
you
not
know,
what you
it didn't
want.
work. It didn't work for
series.
Paramount, you know. And I love the Paramount thing. They're like, they're always embarrassed by this, you know, juggernaut of blockbusters that they have. But like they know.
It is kind of like, damn it, that made money.
Yeah, it's totally that for them. And that's why they wanted to end it with 4. And they're like, holy shit, 4 made so much money. Maybe we should like keep it going. And then they made 5, and 5 was sort of like a critical and, you know, a little bit underperformed compared to the others. And again, you sold 4 as the last one. So that's why Ford got a big boost. You know?
Yeah.
Paramount is basically John Vernon from Animal House. Like Paramount wants it all to fail at every step of the way. Like, all right, part 5, you're on secret double probation. You made money. Got it. All right, get a 6.
We should touch upon the chat before we get to 6. Because it's I don't want to get too far behind it, but Alex Bonafante says 6 is my fave, but Kane Hodder is the best Jason and the standard for all silent villains. I absolutely agree there. He says also Crispin is a great silent villain in Charlie's Angels 1.
I love
new
that.
name in the chat. Burning Exeter says not one of the best Friday 13th movies, but it does have an entertaining as hell climax and one of the best Jasons. It's a shame every violent kill got cut out. I assume he's talking about 7.
That's probably
he
7.
must be talking about
That
7. Yeah,
it sounds like 7 to me. Strange Dominus says, where's the governor? Sorry, Dominus. Captain Kyle will be on the Walking Dead Reactors panel. That will be, I think, your next chance to see him on the channel. He's always welcome to come here on VCR Redux, though. Richard Lynn says, I believe I rented them from our public library on VHS. Did you beat the game? No, never beat the Nintendo game.
Not really.
Renting them from the library means you had a way cooler library than I did.
I remember that game. Oh my god!
Yeah, the game made no sense.
I never beat the game either.
They kind of explain the game in 6. I feel like that's always like you go from cabin to cabin until you find out which cabin Jason is in. Like that's the fucking Nintendo game. And 6 predates that game, so I feel
that's like the Back to the Future Nintendo games. How are you going to beat the villains? We're going to throw bees at them. Where were bees in that movie? That made no sense to me.
But by the time you got to the cabin, you were so low energy. By the time
you fight scene?
You're playing the game, by the time you got to the cabin with Jason in it, you were so low energy, you would die like instantly.
There's a new game that is apparently very cool. I played like for 2 seconds, but like any of these new games, it takes a while to learn. So, but also in the chat, our friends at Retrofiend Radio say, I like the reveal of Jason's face at the end of part 7. He looks like the Eddie from Iron Maiden. Oh, I do love. Yeah, that's a good call actually. Slow clap for Retrofiend.
He kind of does. Yeah, he kind of does.
Alex Bonafante agrees that 4 the 8 is spot on. Chris, he says 9 is cool too. That's where I kind of disagree. I'd take 5 over 9 any day.
No.
But anyways, the chat is blown up. So I, we don't want to spend the whole time just reading that. Glad to see it going though. So that brings us to 6, and let's just talk about it right out in the open. We got the best soundtrack to any Friday the 13th movie, despite the disco theme being in 3. But you got Alice Cooper. It's incredible. You got Tom Matthews. You got Horshack from Welcome Back, Kotter. You got the best dickhead cop in the history of dickhead cops. And you have the strangest girl in any Friday the 13th movie, the sheriff's daughter, who is just so fixated on Tommy Jarvis, now played by the 3rd actor to don such a role.
But she could really drive too.
But this is where we get to Jason to like, he starts taking those steps towards being like a major icon, in my opinion. Like the lightning strike, he's now just like zombified. He's glorified. He's like, there's very little man left in Jason at this point. He's like really a supernatural thing. And I don't know. I love it.
I can remember that.
Funny.
I can remember that image on Fangoria magazine.
Which one? The lightning strike?
Yeah, it's with the like his
the mask on the chest.
Yeah. Oh, that was so cool.
Fangoria was the best. But yeah, I mean, 6 is really solid and obviously kind of a course correction film from what people felt like 5 was sort of off course and a little sleazy.
And it fixes the timeline by the whole Jason's a zombie now. Now it's like, okay, now we can do whatever. Which
the interesting thing about, speaking of the timeline, since we jump forward about 10 years with 5 and then a few more with 6, by the time you get to 7 actually takes place, I believe, technically in the year 2000 or 2001, despite being made. No, seriously. If
I agree.
Time jump, that it's after those films, and it's always, because then you show Tina and she's young, and then it's 10 more years later.
Yeah.
So that's why that one's like literally taking place in the 2000s. Although they don't really say that.
I don't know about that though. Like I've been thinking about that, and maybe the whole thing with Tina as a kid took place before any of the Jason stuff happened.
I can buy that.
Okay.
Like that's kind of the way I look at it, even though I don't think there's really any.
Well, then even still, it takes place in the 90s, technically.
Yeah, I mean, it's still
the 10-year Tommy jump.
It does make me laugh though. That opening scene where she's like, "I hate you. I wish you were dead." Doc starts going down. No, Daddy, no.
Yeah.
Well, just pick a side. Pick a side.
That's true.
She underestimated her power.
I always laugh at that part.
But it's my favorite.
The person, would have been a gore masterpiece if the MPAA didn't cut it to pieces. And if Paramount had the foresight to save some of the earlier prints, of those.
I wish there was an uncut version of that.
I wish. But that's why it's called the cutting room floor. 7, to me, it, again, took that full step, because now you have Kane Hodder in the role. The best makeup ever on Jason, I think, is in 7. And I think 8 could have done a better job of riding that success. And Jason takes Manhattan,
No, Jason takes a boat. Melanie died. Okay, she's back. Okay.
As many call it, Jason takes a boat.
Jason takes a boat.
it's still got some really cool kills.
I love that movie though.
Some great characters. Julius is amazing. Come on, we all love Julius. The only guy to try and box Jason. It's incredible.
The cruise ship is horrible looking. The cruise ship looks like a tugboat.
Yeah.
Well, and I know this has been said 1,000 times. How does a damn boat get off a lake into the ocean?
It's on the MacGuffin chain of New Jersey lakes, of which there is the Strait of Bullshits that lead right into the ocean.
I just love that none of us actually even caught it or cared. It's not until like years later, when we're in our 20s watching the making of it.
Wait a minute.
Yeah. Oh yeah, like we totally bought it.
The only thing I didn't like about 8, or I mean, there's some other things, but I just like the main girl in it was just so like, to me, it's just like, so whiny.
In 8,
no personality.
In 8.
Personality.
No, exactly. I'm sitting there going,
I could see that.
But she went on to be in Project Alf, the great TV movie. Let's not forget this.
Well, there you go.
Man, well, respect will be paid.
That's right. That's right.
To the fullest extent of the law. Some interesting opinions in the chat. Nolan Roberts says my ranking is Jason X and then the rest. So each their own.
Wow. I love that.
I always refer to it as space, where franchises go to die. But we can't talk about that without talking about 9 for a sec. 9, yeah.
The first 5 minutes. The first 5 minutes. Great.
It's another one.
Fabulous.
Yeah. Exactly.
It's like all these movies that do this, where they have this great opening and then they just ruin it the rest. It's like, take your cue from T2 The Ride. Right? Do you remember that for that Universal back in the day? We got this great 10-minute 3D movie, and it's like, that's it. We're out. Like 10 minutes. Just go send this to Paramount Studios and just do a 10-minute ride. That's all I want.
9 to me was like, Freddy Part 2. It was Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2. Same kind of concept.
It makes Nightmare on Elm Street 2 look like fucking Citizen Kane.
Yeah, no, but I'm just saying the concept of what they were trying to go for.
Yeah. The only cool thing in the whole
Don't you come after
movie to me is Creighton Duke. The idea that this is bounty hunter that like wants to kill Jason. I'm like, all right, that's total bullshit. But like, this guy's really going for it. He's really trying.
You want the secret? Give me your finger.
I'm having fun with him. Yeah, exactly. Breaking fingers and like, what else you don't remember anything else in that movie except Richard Gant, the great Richard Gant.
Yeah, I remember. And Aaron Gray, who I love. Aaron Gray, Wilma.
I love.
From
yeah,
Buck
but they
Rogers.
also have Leslie. He's got
Leslie
big
Jordan.
Leslie Jordan. Yeah, Leslie Jordan's the cook in that. Like, there's a lot of great people in that movie. It's just stupid movie.
Interesting.
I can't defend that movie.
Interesting opinion here. Alex Bonafante says the sum of all fun moments make the Friday franchise as fun for me as Elm Street, in spite of any missteps. That's an interesting thought. I would, definitely agree. In any Friday movie, you do get enough fun moments to like get you through it. Like, none of them are unwatchable.
Oh yeah.
9 is
9 might be
hell,
unwatchable.
It's as close as it gets for sure. I definitely take Space over 9. But there's not much else I can say about Space.
Jason X is awesome. It's got my favorite kill of all the movies. When he freezes her face. Yeah, that's my favorite kill of all the movies.
It's very creative.
See, so we got to talk about our favorite kills. I'll tell you my favorite kill though. And again, it's not because I'm defending 5, just for anybody who's gonna freak out. But I will say this:
does it take place in 5?
It does. But remember the scene? It's the scene where the guy gets in the back of a tree and Jason puts this like horse whip thing around his face and he twists the log.
Oh, that's a great
until it snaps. Oh my God. Can you imagine if that happened to you? Like the pain of that? He literally crunches a guy's skull with.
I think the actor said what was more painful for him was the director, who was like a porn director. Like screaming at him during the love scene, like, like, fuck her, like, do it good, it's like, oh dude, like, this is so awkward, like,
wrong set.
Like, Jesus Christ, holy shit. So that's that dude went through all kinds of pain for Friday 5.
That's my favorite kill though. That's inventive. I like that.
I gotta say, it's vanilla to say it, but Sleeping Bag is just so good.
The Sleeping Bag one,
it's a good one.
It's a great one. Melanie,
you got that
favorite kill?
You got that in 10 too.
Oh,
that's
yeah, well,
right.
that's true.
That's right. I mean, the sleeping bag kill is kind of my default too. Uh, Also, just I mean, I was very excited when Joey got killed in part 5. I'm sorry. Oh my god.
Joey.
I couldn't listen to that anymore. His
Oh, the
chocolate
candy bar.
bar.
Oh, the one
with
like
his
cold-blooded.
chocolate bar.
Oh,
See,
come
that's one of the ones I
chocolate
feel the
bar.
most
How
bad
do you
about.
not have sympathy, you horrible human being?
I'm a
Melanie.
horrible human being. And also to this day, I've never understood like who thought that Vic was ready for the halfway house. Like he wasn't ready for that step.
He really was. Get away from me. He's chopping wood with an axe.
Yeah, who gave him an axe? Like, what is happening?
I'll tell you who.
Perfectly normal.
The guy who gave Indiana Jones his hat. That's the one who gave him an axe.
Right.
Oh my god, the memories are coming back to me. Yeah, there were some I think 5 was a USA Up All Night one for me for the first time.
Yeah, I think so too.
Which is a great way to discover. It might have been cable though. I know 6 was definitely like.
Come on, he puts the candy
Showtime
bar on
or
the
something like
log
that.
and Vic cuts it in half. You cannot feel sympathy for that. And oh my god, what's his name? Oh baby, I got a crap. Ooh.
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Oh, I love it.
I love that one.
Was it Dante?
The damn enchiladas.
Yeah.
Damien or something. Yeah.
Demon. His name was Demon.
Yes,
Yeah.
thank you.
Played by
My old
Miguel.
friend Demon.
Played by Miguel Nunez.
Yeah,
Mhm.
my favorite
Ooh,
part
baby.
of that is
Ooh,
my
baby.
Great
favorite part
actor.
of that is like, you know, she's shaking the porta potty or whatever like that, and then after a while, like she's shaking it, like, you know, but it's not her or whatever case me, and he's sitting there, he's like, bitch, you gonna get it.
Yeah, you're gonna get it, bitch.
You're gonna get it, bitch.
Okay, so
man.
so I have a big gripe with that scene. Another one. So there's a problem in these Friday the 13th movies. Whenever anyone, so first of all, there is more than one diarrhea blowout in this franchise. You have the
That's
beginning
true.
of part 3, and then you
Oh
have,
my god.
and then you have the outhouse in part 5, and every time they're like, oh my god, what was that? And they just pull up their pants and run out, and they don't wipe.
They don't
And it
wipe.
drives me insane. And then Demon in part 5, what's worse is he's wearing leather pants. So he's running around in leather pants with
Probably with no
crap all
underwear.
Just
Probably with
stealing
no
it.
Probably with
underwear.
no underwear because
Probably with no underwear. 'Cause leather
Commando.
pants.
Is that what you do with leather pants? I'm not aware of this.
I don't know, but all I'm thinking is death is
Sometimes.
death would be a sweet release in that scenario. I'm sorry.
Shut up, Chris. You're wearing leather pants right now. Don't act like you're not.
They're leather capri pants. It's not the same thing. They're hook fins.
Ooh, baby. Ooh, baby.
So, all right, do we have a favorite character in the franchise other than Jason, obviously? Because we all, Jason pretty much becomes the hero of the franchise at a certain point.
Oh, but no question, Lar Park Lincoln, Tina.
Oh, okay. I love Lar Park Lincoln as well.
My
but-
favorite. And then outside of her, it's probably Corey Feldman.
Really?
I love
about you
Amy
guys?
Steele. I like Amy Steele. Like Amy Steele in that April Fool's Day. I wish Amy Steele had that bigger career. Like she deserved and earned a bigger career than what she got. I love
think she honestly became a therapist, which was like
She
what
did.
was
She
studying
is,
to be
yeah,
into,
yeah.
So
It's
she's
just-
doing fine.
But she's great. But
she's very
a great
nice.
actress.
She's I did
Yeah,
a
she's
panel with
really
her
nice.
as well. She
She's
was
really
great.
nice.
Mm.
Yeah, really, really nice. Melanie, favorite character in a Friday movie?
Probably Crispin Glover.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So good.
I've always had
So
a big
good.
thing for Crispin Glover though. So I mean I just think he's like I think his performance is just so quirky and weird without
Yeah.
being annoying and obnoxious.
That's true. That's a good point.
Yeah, he's not it's like it's not obnoxious. He's just different. And then of course the dance, which
Oh.
my God. But then also aside from that, I've just always had a very strange attraction to Crispin Glover. So
I think that's probably why Darcy DeMoss in 6 is one of my favorites. I've just always been
Oh,
in
yeah.
love, head over heels for Darcy DeMoss. She's just like the coolest, chick in every 80s movie that she's been in.
Mhm.
So she's immortalized for me. And ironically, she got her start, I believe, on like some weird
okay.
show that like, okay, so remember the beginning of 4, the corner is watching like an aerobics show where the girl's in like a white room and she's like on a rotating platform and it's just like thrusting. It's not even like real aerobics. So I think that might have been Darcy DeMoss, or that she was on that show. Essentially, she was one of those people.
Is it like what Walter Matthau's watching, like Grumpy Old Men or something like that?
Yes, that's right. He does watch that too.
I know exactly.
I don't know what the hell that show was called, but it pops up in a few pieces of pop culture. I think it's funny.
It was called Awesomeness.
It's called the 1980s and cocaine. But so we are 10 minutes late. We should get to our sequel pitching portion of the show, and that of course includes you guys in the chat. My apologies for not being able to read everyone's comment in the live chat because it is going wild, but we'd love to see you guys.
If it involves anything but 5, we don't care.
Not true. Not true. But we did touch on the rebootish whatever anyway. So imagine that someone came to you and gave you a stack of money and said, write me a new Friday the 13th movie and I'll figure out the the legal problems involved. I mean, Jason deserves to be back on the silver screen. So what are your guys' thoughts? Have you ever, I'm sure we've all kicked around a Friday sequel at some point in our lives.
My whole thing is like, I need to see Tina once again.
Okay.
I mean, I need to see
Melanie's
that confrontation.
already shaking her head, and I love it.
Well, why not? I mean, she survived. She survived. She's the only one that technically, definitively, beat him. So it's like, you have to have that. Why wouldn't he want revenge?
She did beat him more than Freddy did. That's true. I never thought about it like that.
Tina does have one of my favorite lines in the franchise because it just makes me crack up. When she's talking to Kevin Spiritus and she's like, knowing my luck, you're just another delusion. And they're just like, ha, ha, ha. And it's like, actually, no, if it's one thing if she, she's seeing a therapist, she's working on herself. That's one thing. The delusions part, we might want to address that. But instead they're just like, ha, 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 ha. Oh my God, she's the best.
Since you brought up kind of 7, I will say the one kill that I always kind of felt, one of the ones that I felt the worst about was the, like, a little touch up, work my ass, that girl when she gets killed, and that's a great pursuit.
That was a good pursuit. Yes, that was actually a good, really well directed pursuit.
And really well done by Kane Hodder. That's, I think, where you first see the like sudden head turn that became his signature, move on the character. And there's something about him. He just moves kind of like a shark, and that was sort of John Carl Buechler's, he kept referring to him as, I viewed him as a meat-based Terminator. So
I felt bad for that girl too.
No, yeah, exactly. That's the thing, is you feel really bad for her. She was kind of like nice to everybody, and she wasn't whatever. The only one who deserves it is the one who gets the axe in the head, which is a great kill. 7's chock full of them. They were all great kills until the MPAA showed up. So Melanie, what would you do if you had a stack of cash awaiting you to write a Friday sequel?
Well, I've always, I remember back on the day of the message boards and stuff, everyone was really jonesing for like, why can't we have one that takes place in winter?
Yeah, I hear that a lot.
Winter at Camp Crystal Lake, and I guess that wouldn't be terrible. Like, I've always thought, I'm like, oh well, what if like there's because you figure it gets really cold. There's certain things that have to be. I mean, you live on the East Coast, so
winter in Jersey,
you know more better than I do. But like, you have to go put antifreeze in the pipes so they don't freeze and bust, and so what if there's like a maintenance crew that has to go to the camp in winter, and then they get snowed in, they have to stay in the camp, and like
that
what
sounds
happens?
Pretty damn solid.
I'd
buy that for $1.
Just keep hiring Shannon and Swift and ruin the franchise for all I
Yeah, it's probably what they're gonna do if they ever get out of court. Ian, what's your take?
So honestly, because me, I like to, I really want to think what if somebody was actually pitching it today in Hollywood, I think what they would do. And I honestly think the one thing that we haven't had, and I don't want it to go down this path, but I believe they would pitch a Stranger Things versus Jason. I really think it would be but hold on, just calm down. See, this is why this is why pitch meetings never work. But I think if you actually had a like summer camp, right? It's a summer camp, and you actually have kids that are like the real kids, or at the camp and stuff like that are kind of going to be the heroes. But it's still counselors getting killed, right? Like the kids are noticing Jason killing all these counselors, and so it kind of turns into like them trying to defeat Jason, seeing what's going on with their camp counselors dying. So you still get all the great stuff, right? You get you get the smoking drugs, sex, rock and roll. The counselors are terrible dickheads. You get that one blonde counselor who has a cool mustache, even though he's like 16, right? Like. And these would be like normal looking teenagers. It wouldn't be like 1985 teenagers who are like 47, right? Like they're real, but I think that would actually be a cool dynamic, right? Because again, you get the audience, you get somebody for the audience to actually connect with, and the audience can go through the journey, but you don't kill kids, you don't want to do that taboo, right? So we got to have the counselors who are dicks to the kids. So maybe it's a juvenile, right? Like maybe it's a juvenile delinquent camp or something like that, right? Where
that's interesting.
That these kids are like, the counselors just don't give a shit about these kids. They're lost.
Could you do that? Could you do that?
It's the kids from Ernest Goes to Camp at a Friday the 13th camp. It's those kids who are the heroes with Jason.
Okay.
That's got some potential. If Jim Varney was alive, of course.
Well, I meant like those juvenile kids. Like everybody doesn't care about these kids, but they're the ones noticing like all this shit going on. So, you add a little Home Alone kind of stuff going on there where they got to kind of help kind of catch. I know it sounds campy, but it's taken seriously, kind of thing. But
well, there is some pitches in the chat already. Nolan Roberts says Jason XL, Space Jason fights off an alien race who plans to invade Earth. I would probably watch it on cable,
I'd go to theaters.
I would rent it, but
hey, and that's
if it was on Netflix.
That's ambitious, Nolan. Hats off. Alex Bonafonte says part 11. We're already past that now. I think there's been 12 movies already. Jason Takes Okinawa, though, is his pitch, a samurai movie homage. Jason versus Samurais, I'm game. You know what? That's fantastic.
That sounds like one of the Nintendo games.
We're forgetting the part that we would have to omit. We would have to omit part 10, Jason X, because he's in like 2055.
We don't have to admit it. That just hasn't happened yet. This is a prequel. Everything now is going to be a prequel to Jason X, including Freddy versus Jason.
So what
only at the end of Cronenberg shows
he could have been, his body could have been shipped somewhere else. I mean, we could take him out of Crystal Lake again. We took him to New York. Well, let's take him to LA.
Jason goes to Vegas.
Take him to Vegas, take him to LA, take him to Tokyo.
One interesting thought I've had for a long time is that part of the brand of what people love about this is like the 80s-ness of it. Like the 80s-ness of the characters are great. And also like it gets to a point nowadays with horror movies where people have cell phones. Everyone has cell phones, and there's 5G like everywhere now. So it's going to be hard to think that like, oh, he took out the 3 nearest cell phone tower. Like it's almost impossible to like take the phones out of the equation.
Yeah.
So I've often thought, okay, you should just make it and have it take place in the 80s. Make a great 80s period movie, not a lazy 80s period movie, but like a really good one, and bring back some of the ugly fashion that people like me love. Like acid wash jeans and like high-waisted shit and jean jackets and all that stuff. But I also feel like, you can't get the rights to do like a big crossover thing. But what you could do is you could do Jason Takes Manhattan again, but make it like proper, It would cost a lot of money. But when I hear about like, oh, there was supposed to be an Empire State Building scene, there was supposed to be a Brooklyn Bridge scene, there was supposed to be all this New York in it, and there's no New York in it. And my favorite parts are the little bits in and around Times Square, like the 80s punks, like, like take your juvenile delinquent story, Ian, and if those are 80s juvenile delinquents, I'm fucking sold, hook, line, and sinker. Those are like 80s punk kids. Oh, I love it.
Oh yeah,
it'd be amazing. Anything that happens for that franchise could happen in the 80s, and I'd watch it. Just throwing it out there.
Totally.
But there are more pitches in the chat, of course. There's some talk of Tony Goldwyn's short cameo, which was sad in part 6. I think that's how he got. I think that's how he got his Screen Actors Guild card. Again, that the clamp tower strikes again for Melanie's lighting. Alex Bonafante also says part 11. Jason cancels.
The next one time the lights are gonna go out, and you're gonna be this freaking creepy baby monster right behind you.
That she set those lights up to do that so she could use that casting couch. Don't worry, I got you.
The ghost of casting couches of past.
Melanie is somebody over to the side with the light switch, like right now. Right. Yeah, okay, click.
I would never have chosen these lights. Like, such a pain in the ass.
Next time that happens, though, it's like.
Do you guys consider Freddy vs. Jason a part of the franchises?
Sure.
I really liked the story of Freddy vs. Jason, like how they brought them together.
To hate it because they didn't use Kane Hodder. I
always hated that about it for sure. That was a criminal. That was a criminal act.
That was.
I hate Freddy vs. Jason.
Oh, you hate it?
I hate that movie.
Wow, I like it. Wow. I like it.
See, what I like is Robert Englund. I love Robert Englund in it. That's the only thing that makes it for me. The rest of it is kind of because it's again, great idea. Like that was actually a great script. Let Freddy use Jason to get that whole like they don't remember me now they'll think it's Freddy again. Like I love that part of it. So it's like if they just taken it seriously, if they'd taken it. If Martin Scorsese had done Freddy versus Jason, that would have been a great movie.
Scorsese would have had him with a gun and like just pistol whipping people and talking about like Janice can do whatever the fuck she wants to do.
that was the first Jason movie I got to see in theaters. Was actually Freddy, and it was it was opening night crowd. And oh my gosh, when he does that line, the dark meat line, oh, that theater just blew up. I mean, I always remember that.
That is definitely a line that they would not be doing.
That would not be a 2021, no. But I just remember that, that crowd just loved that whole entire movie. That was like, this is why you go see a crowd, movies with crowds. Is this experience right here?
I liked Freddy versus Jason. I really wanted them to follow it up with like a Freddy versus Jason versus Ash, which we heard so many rumors about.
I think they did it in comic form though.
Yeah, but that's it's not the same. It's not Bruce Campbell. It's not. No. Again, they could have like correct course and brought Kane Hodder back and like sort of made up for him not being there the first time, and it's like all's well now.
For sure.
But no, they fucked that up. And
although he is in the movie. Kane Hodder did a stunt on Freddy versus Jason.
Get the fuck out of here. Because Ken Kurtzinger did a stunt on Jason Takes Manhattan.
Or maybe that's what it is.
That's probably what it is.
But I thought Kane Hodder did a stunt for Freddy versus Jason. So he's technically in it.
I don't think so.
So maybe I'm mixing the story. So
I think you're mixing the stories. Yeah, the guy who played him in 8. Or the guy who played him in Jason versus Freddy also had a stunt in.
That's what. Yeah.
I think it's the car getting hit by the car stunt. I think was done by Ken Kurtzinger.
Yeah.
Okay. And I believe that's the name. If I could be wrong, Friday nerds, take it easy on me. But again, did some more cool pitches in the chat. There's a lot of talk about the Jason in Okinawa. That seems to be taking off. With the Yakuza, throwing the Yakuza in there. That's kind of interesting.
Just remake Hell in the Pacific where it's Freddy and Jason on an island fighting each other. Like that's basically what you're proposing.
I mean, you could totally do a concept where you take Jason's body to Tokyo or something like that. There's a scientist out there that wants to. I mean, you had that kind of with Jason X, but that was like kind of like that just came later. But I think like you could do something where like some scientist wants to study the body or something like that. Maybe there's a cure for something or whatever like that he wants to get out of it, and you just bring him to Japan.
Interesting.
Anything's possible. Anything's possible.
Potential. I think at this point, as much as I'm for Jason Hawaiian style or Jason in Vegas or Jason going to all these places, I really feel like we need some classic Jason to like quench our thirst, you know? It was like, you know, you made us wait 10 years and then you sent him to fucking Arizona. Like, fuck you. You know, it's like,
Yeah.
all right, first thing we need is probably like kind of a core classic thing. And then, yeah, dude, go back to space, Hawaiian style all the way. I mean, come on, look, I'm dressed for it.
Right. I will say
know.
that is my preference. I like seeing Jason at Crystal Lake.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I'm not a huge, like, I know, you know, I appreciate trying to do something different, but you know, Camp Crystal Lake is, I mean, to me, it's as much a part of Friday the 13th as Jason is.
Yeah.
So to me, if it doesn't take place there, it's just, but I'm also a very locations centric person. To me, locations are just one of my favorite parts of the film. So it's like, if the location isn't there, I just it really takes a lot of it away for me.
I would agree. And the ones that you remember the most are the ones that have the great locations, you know.
Right.
Like 4, 6, you know, 2 is a good one. 1's a good location. You know, these are the good films.
I do like your
series.
prequel kind of concept where you do it in the 80s. You know, I know, like, you know, it's controversial or whatever like that, but with the new Halloween, you know, trilogy or whatever the case may be, you could do something like that where you kind of throw it back a little bit.
Yeah, well,
No.
Jason is not stuck with like some actor or actress or anything. It's not like you need to bring back Jamie Lee Curtis or something. And I'm
Yeah.
all for a movie that reunites a bunch of survivors or something like that. But at this point, like, honestly, I think that ship has sailed. Like, you need to have young people. The movie's got to be about young people to get people to show up. So you got to have teenagers in a Jason movie.
But what if you kind of redid 7? You know, in a newer style, whatever like that, more violent or whatever case may be. I would be
Jason's
down
the
for
Riddler
it.
leaving clues.
Yeah.
Melanie
Like
says
that
no.
that storyline was pretty good though. You know, I thought.
What, 7?
Yeah.
Yes, it worked for that film.
But I think
like saying, what about The Land Before Time? But Jason is Fievel Mouskowitz.
I'd buy that. I'd buy that.
I would watch it. I'm not gonna lie.
Somewhere,
we all know how much.
Somewhere out there.
Yeah, well, if you think about it, that is kind of like he's trying to find. We all know how much he loves his mom and what he would do to get back to her. Maybe that is the Jason story. It's been that the whole time, and we just don't know it.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're not my mom. You're not my mom.
Yeah. Pretty much.
But there could be, you know, but I do like, I think there's you know, if we sort of took everything we've been talking about and threw it in a melting pot, I think you'd have a pretty badass Jason in the 80s on ice movie. You know,
I do
hockey,
think
you know, you got to put him on the ice at some point. Someone needs to get killed on a frozen lake. Why couldn't there be people ice fishing there or something, you know?
Oh, how great would that scene be? All these kids sitting there with hockey masks on, and Jason shows up and he's just confused, like
Jason pops up out of a fishing hole.
Yeah.
Out of a fishing hole.
He could totally do that.
I do think it'd be. I will say this. I do want Friday the 13th back in the title, and I know that's part of that whole lawsuit and everything like that.
Yeah,
you know, I'm tired of the Jason thing. Like, it should be Friday the 13th. You know, like that 100%. But I don't know. I guess the thing is, like, what we want as fans, though, it's interesting. We basically want as a fan film in the weirdest way. Like, we just want Jason killing, you know, counselors and doing all that stuff. And isn't there, like, somebody's doing that? They're doing a fan.
Shout out to the fan films. There's some incredible fan films out there. Yeah,
and there's a big one that's coming up too. I actually think. Did they get Kane Hodder or something?
Well, isn't it? We're talking about. So there's Never Hike Alone.
Right.
That Tom Matthews is in.
Right. Yeah. And then there's another one. He did another one too.
Yeah, they're doing a sequel to that called like Don't Hike in the Snow or something like that. And and I think it takes place in winter.
Interesting. Well, there you go.
Yeah.
I think Darcy DeMoss is in that one too, I believe.
I don't know.
Which is a great kill, the you know, side of the Winnebago. But we are almost out of time, so I do want to give Melanie a chance. If there's anything you got coming up in the works you want to let people know about, or is there any progress on the Sleepaway Camp documentary or anything we should look forward to in the near future?
I mean, we're still, you know, trying to get that up and going. I mean, we probably already have done half of the interviews for it. But that was done right before COVID started. So as soon as, you know, people still, not everyone is comfortable yet, like sitting down for an interview. So once people start feeling a little more comfortable about that, we will continue production on that. But oh my god, you know,
leave it. It's scarier.
It's kind of cool.
I like it.
So but we do have we've already done a lot of great interviews for it, with the cast of Sleepaway Camp 2 and 3, and we're going to have a lot of people from the original. And I'm producing that with my very good friend Michael Perez, and Felissa Rose as an executive producer on it. And it's gonna be a lot of fun. I'm very excited about it because I just have always loved those movies so much.
Me too. Well, we will have to do a Sleepaway Camp episode on VCR Redux close to the release date and have you on if you'll be kind enough to come back.
As long as we talk about Return to Sleepaway Camp.
No.
Oh, here we go. Interesting. No. Interesting. Well, Ian, Mickey, anything you guys got coming up in the works you want to let the people at home know about?
Nothing coming up, but I did, guys, check out, I did a podcast with some friends of mine. It's called Fresh Roasted Metal. It's on Brutality LLC, and it's all about Kiss.
Oh, cool. That'd be definitely something to check out. Ian, anything? I believe you have a play this week, I believe, right?
Well, next week, yes.
Next week.
Any of you in the Middletown, Delaware area, we will be doing Expo, an evening of Edgar Allan Poe, featuring music, dance, theater, artwork for all inspired by Edgar Allan Poe. So please attend that. Also, if you're interested in funny articles about terrible movies, please go to the movie reviews sections of Fandom Spotlite, where you can read some articles I wrote in my anger and my frustration of why people don't know these great, terrible movies. And shame on you for not watching these terrible, horrible, rotten movies. So,
well, thanks to you, I've watched a couple more of those. Anyway, you Fandom fans might want to tune in to Tuesday's Walking Dead Reactor panel featuring our very own governor, Captain Kyle. And of course, we want you to tune in next Wednesday at 9 p.m. as we search for new rhymes, limericks, and Warwick Davis magic when we tackle the Leprechaun franchise for week 3 of our 4 weeks of horror on VCR Redux.
I'm the leprechaun. I'm scary. I'm getting leprechaun.
As always, if there's a particular movie or TV franchise that you want us to cover on a future episode, let us know in the comments section on YouTube. And since you're already doing that, you might as well go ahead and like, subscribe, and follow Fandom Spotlight, Rick Barth and the Line, the Hollow 9 Network, and Pop Culture Punk. And keep your eyes and ears on the lookout for the Angela the Sleepaway Camp documentary coming soon. Yes. Till then, back up those Betamax, rewind those Laserdiscs, and we'll see you at the movies.